There are roughly 9 million people who are incarcerated worldwide, with about 30% of those being in the United States. The average prison sentence is approximately 55 months, giving prisoners just shy of 5 years to conspire against the system that placed them there. Because of this, prisoners have come up with some pretty incredible means of escape, drug smuggling, and other illegal activities. Here are 5 incredible prison occurrences from around the world. Number 5. Inmate contraband. Inmates will find a way to make weapons out of just about anything, and it seems like trying to keep up with their latest tactics is borderline impossible. We're talking about people who spend, for the most part, years on end doing nothing but staring at a wall and thinking. There's no telling what they could have come up with when given that amount of time. Here are just a few of those creations, taken from a German prison, photographed by Mark Steinmetz. Weapons and contraband are confiscated from inmates daily, but here are just a handful of the most cunning and creative examples that prison guards have come across. Here's a photo of an improvised shotgun made from the iron of bedposts, lead from curtain tape, and match heads. This gun was to be ignited by AA batteries and a broken light bulb. Back in 1984, 2 inmates used this weapon to capture a guard, hold him hostage, and escape by car. But not before showing off their weapon by firing at and piercing through seemingly bulletproof glass. This shiv you're seeing is disguised as a wooden crucifix, found sometime in 1994. It was intended for use in an escape or possibly just as a general weapon. At the time this was found, many crucifixes were built in prison woodshops, until guards finally figured out what inmates were doing with them. Here's an immersion heater made from razor blades. It was found in a cell in Hamburg, Germany. Inmates used these to distill cell-made alcoholic beverages. A typical moonshine concoction utilized a plastic can filled with fermented fruit mash or juice, and an immersion coil of some sort, as well as a rubber vent hose. This pistol was found alongside other firearms in the cell of 2 inmates in 1984. They were made in the prison's metal shop because apparently somebody thought it was a good idea to give criminals access to dangerous metals. They were loaded with steel fragments and fired using match heads. Finally, here is a freaking machine gun made from a grease injector, wood, and electrical tape. This was found in 1994 in a prison workshop after guards were tipped off that an escape attempt was being planned. Number 4. Escape from Alcatraz. Alcatraz Federal Penitentiary is known for being quite possibly the world's highest security prison ever built. However, in June of 1962, 2 inmates did the unthinkable. In the late evening hours of June 11th and well into the morning of June 12th, inmates Clarence Anglin, John Anglin, and Frank Morris created papier-mâché copies of their heads, tucked them into their beds, broke out of the main prison building through a utility hall, and departed Alcatraz Island on an improvised inflatable raft never to be seen again. In the following years, hundreds of leads have been pursued by the FBI and local law enforcement, but no conclusive evidence has ever surfaced detailing whether or not the men ever made it ashore. In 1979, the FBI officially concluded that the men had drowned in the San Francisco Bay before ever reaching the mainland, but this has never been confirmed, and many theorists believe otherwise. The U.S. Marshal Service case also remains open, and the Anglin brothers remain on its wanted list. Recent computer-simulated evidence has suggested that the ultimate outcome of the attempt may have depended on the precise time of the men's departure aboard the raft, which is unknown. Additionally, a 2015 documentary presented circumstantial evidence in support of a long-standing rumor that the 2 men, the Anglin brothers, had survived and fled to Brazil. But a government expert concluded that the one piece of physical evidence, a 1975 photograph, was not enough to support that conclusion. To this day, no one knows for sure if the men ever made it to mainland, but if they did, there's a small possibility they could still be alive. Number 3. Pigeon trained to smuggle drugs into prison. A homing pigeon was busted in the Middle East for carrying a tiny pouch filled with illegal drugs. A local newspaper reported that the bird was caught trying to smuggle almost 200 pills that contained a type of ketamine. Kuwait customs agents tracked the bird's flight patterns from a location inside the country of Iraq and caught the bird above a building near a customs department. Journalist Abdullah Fahmy told the BBC that customs officials have known for some time that smugglers in the area have been using pigeons to move drugs, but this is the first time they've managed to catch a bird in the act. However, pigeons have been found elsewhere in the world performing the exact same task. In 2015, prison guards in Costa Rica caught a pigeon carrying cocaine and cannabis in a zipped pouch. And in 2011, Colombian police discovered a pigeon that was unable to fly over a high prison wall because of the weight of a package of cocaine and marijuana that had been strapped to it. It's unknown exactly who's responsible for training and commissioning these birds, but DEA officials certainly will have their sights set skyward in future investigations. Number 2. Sheriff's deputy delivers heroin in a burrito. Sheriff's deputy Henry Marin, age 27, is being charged for bringing drugs into a jail as well as conspiracy to commit a crime. Allegedly, he apparently tried to smuggle a heroin-filled burrito into a courthouse jail, so says the Los Angeles Times. Apparently, this isn't Marin's first time facing these charges either. LA Weekly is reporting that he had been caught engaging in similar conduct for nearly a month beforehand. Marin was relieved of duty without pay and pled not guilty when he appeared in front of a Los Angeles County Superior Court judge. "We take this very seriously," said Sheriff spokesman Steve Whitmore. "This kind of behavior is absolutely inexcusable for anybody, especially a law enforcement representative." The burrito case is just the latest in a series of corruption cases taking place in the Los Angeles County jail system. In the past, county jail guards have been accused of smuggling food, clothes, and similar narcotics to prisoners. The county jail system was also under federal investigation, accompanied by an undercover sting used to investigate prison guards in 2011. Number 1. Dad smuggles drugs through fecal-laced French kiss. After plotting over a monitored telephone call with his imprisoned son, a California man traveled to a federal prison in Colorado, planning to smuggle his offspring a golf ball-sized chunk of black tar heroin that he had wrapped in plastic and stashed in his anus. The father-son smuggling act ended in the arrest of Donald Denny, aged 56, at a federal prison in Florence, Colorado, where Denny's son is serving a 7-year sentence for bank robbery. Although it's fairly well known that telephone conversations at federal prisons are monitored and recorded, Denny and his son, named Donald, nonetheless planned the smuggling in a series of calls that took place over the summer. Initially, the heroin was to be brought into the prison by a female accomplice, who was to deliver the drugs to Denny through a kiss. That plan was scrapped, however, when the Dennys were unable to convince a woman with a clean record to participate, as the visit would have to be approved by prison officials. As a result, Denny was forced to complete the act himself. Denny told his son he would drive to Colorado with the quote, "you-know-what" somewhere in the car, then transfer it to his son through a French kiss. Donald was then prepared to swallow the heroin, pass it through his system, then, at a later point, sell the drugs to fellow inmates, resulting in a potential profit of $22,000. But when Denny arrived to visit his son that afternoon, he was stopped by FBI agents who had a warrant authorizing a full-body search of the smuggling suspect. During a strip search, federal agents spotted a plastic wrapper protruding from Denny's anus. Denny then removed the black tar heroin, which was sealed in a saran wrap type plastic, which had been placed inside the severed finger of a latex glove. In an interview with agents, he confessed his plan as well as ratted out his son for proposing the idea. It's pretty disgusting to smuggle drugs through your butt, let alone transfer those drugs directly from your butt to your mouth. Thankfully, this transaction never came to fruition. Denny, whose prior convictions include a felony drug conviction, was arrested by FBI agents and charged with possession of heroin with intent to distribute, which is a felony. His son has not yet been charged in connection with the smuggling conspiracy. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, be sure to click like and let us know what you think about these topics in the comments below. Also, be sure to subscribe and follow us on social media to keep up with our latest videos.